So, the FNaF movie just came out a few days ago, and recently I watched it. And today, I'm gonna take a deep analysis about this movie. I'm going to analyze the plot of the movie, what I liked and what I didn't like about the movie. But before I start, I got two warnings for you. First, this movie has way too much spoilers, and if you didn't see the movie, you better actually watch it first, and then watch this video. And the second warning is you better watch the first movie to understand the lore, to actually understand the second movie. So let's dive in this movie, which people don't actually like for some reason. The movie opens up with a pizzeria that we seen in the second game. All of the kids having fun playing with animatronics, but there's one exception to it. A little girl named Charlotte sits on the floor and waiting. She sits near the stage where Marionette comes out. She's sitting alone because she thinks that nobody wants to play with her, and she thinks that Marionette is her friend, and only friend. But the next moment, she saw that a little kid was kidnapped by the Yellow Bunny, or as we know him, William Afton. She wanted to tell many people, but nobody actually cared and just shoved her off, so she decided to take matter in her own hands and follow the yellow rabbit and the little boy. After going through a long corridor, she steps into kitchen where William Afton washes his knife and boy lying on the floor. The boy is actually unconscious, not yet dead, because William Afton is only preparing to kill him. She decides to save this boy and picks him up, but William Afton is now nowhere to be seen, and she starts running to the exit. William Afton starts running after her with a knife. Eventually, she reaches the exit, but her vision is now blurry. She drops the boy and he runs to his family, but the girl starts screaming in pain and agony. And eventually, she drops to the floor, revealing that she was stabbed 3 times. The people are shocked, but in the next moment, the floor opens up and she falls right into Marionette's hands. And then when she pops up, people see that the puppet is carrying the girl, or the girl's dead body. And this incident is all over the news. But everybody blames the girl, because in the pizzeria policy nobody can enter the service room. And because the girl had violated the policy, nobody blames the pizzeria itself. Then we cut to Vanessa sleeping, but her sleep is interrupted by Michael, who decided to phone her in the early morning. In short, he decided to invite her to a dinner. Then Abby comes by and decided to tease Michael by saying that he wants to invite Vanessa on a date. Michael decided to hang up on Vanessa and take Abby to the school bus. On the way to school, Abby talks about what happened to her in the first movie of FNaF, but nobody actually believes. Except for the one boy who actually believes in spirits and aliens. In the school, a professor tells the kids that there will be a festival about robots. So everybody has to construct a robot. Then he says that a new other festival is coming up, and that's the FNaF festival. He really takes a dislike to this festival and tells kids to be at the science meeting, where the robots are constructed, and not to go on that FNaF festival. Then he sees that Abby is building a robot similar to the one that was in FNaF Pizzeria, and so he really doesn't like it and tells Abby to actually leave the festival, to not shame the school. Then we cut to Vanessa, who's having nightmare and can't cope with the fact that her father is a serial killer. But back to Abby, we cut to her being depressed because she has lost all her friends. And her brother Michael keeps telling her that he'll fix the animatronics, but never actually does that. When Michael leaves the house, she decides to run to the old pizzeria and try to fix the animatronics itself. She leaves the note on the door that she went to fix her friends, and when Michael comes back to the home, she's actually scared that he cannot find her and finds this note and actually goes to the pizzeria together with Abby. In pizzeria, he finds Abby sitting on the floor depressed, realizing that she cannot do anything to fix her friends. Michael decides to cheer her up and give her anything that they have in the pizzeria left. Michael proposes to Abby several things, like marmalades, the Freddy plush. But Abby keeps her eye on the pad laying on the floor, and she wants that, and Michael gives it to her. Abby thinks that this pad can actually connect her to her friends. Then we cut to 3 paranormal activity hunters who wants to visit the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria place and find some creepy stuff in there. When they have arrived, they were greeted, or should I say jump scared, by Michael Afton. And I must warn you, the Michael Afton and Michael Schmidt are not the same person. In the film universe, there are two different people, and in the actual game, there was the same character. But back to the movie, they entered the place. They decided to split up, but here comes the dark part. One of the paranormal activity hunters named Lisa hears the music, like from the music box. She decides to follow the music and comes in the room where the puppet was stored. She finds a music box where the music was coming from, and she decided to press the button to stop the music. The music eventually stops and the box of where the puppet is opens up, and then the puppet decided to ambush her. One of the other dudes hears that Lisa is screaming, but he pays attention to Michael, who starts laughing. He said that Michael was crazy and decided to rush Lisa to help, but unfortunately for him, he was ambushed by Mangle, and he was killed on the spot, and Afton wasn't really impressed in that. The third dude was exploring the other part where the river was. The third dude is traveling by the river, but unfortunately for him, the flickering lights scare him and he falls into the river itself. Then he is ambushed by an army of little puppets and sucked into the water, where he was killed. Michael Afton decides to check up on Lisa, who is ambushed by Puppet. He decides to check up on her, and when he arrives, he sees a scary picture of Puppet possessing Lisa. Puppet starts following Afton, but he manages to escape from the place. Then we cut to Abby, who's playing with her new pet. But the pet doesn't seem to work and she puts it on a shelf. But in the middle of the night it starts working and saying, "Help us." Abby listens to the pet and decided to go to the pizzeria, but that's different pizzeria. The 1982 pizzeria and not from the other movie. When she arrives, he finds Toy Chica and she's excited because that's her new friend, or old friend as she thinks. Off camera, the animatronics help her to finish her project for the school. The next day, Vanessa comes to the Michael house and she enters Abby's room where she doesn't find her. She's getting scared, but then she's jumpscared by Abby, who was hiding behind the door. She tells that her animatronic friends had helped her to finish her project. Then Michael arrives and Abby runs to him to show her new works. Michael says that that's a cool art and doesn't really care and tells what he had bought for her. Vanessa also comes by and tells Michael that they need to have a talk. Michael starts first by talking about that he had found a poster with a title "Murder at the Freddy's" with attached a number to it. He called the number and the dude was saying that there was a murder, another murder, that Michael didn't heard of. Then Vanessa wants to tell that Abby has found a new place with a new animatronics and wants to warn Michael about that. But Michael decides to brush it all off by calling that Abby is a child with her strong imagination. Then we cut to the festival of the robots. Abby approaches the professor and tells her that she needs a table. Professor is surprised and deep in his soul he's angry because Abby had come. He didn't want Abby to come because he thinks that she can shame the school, and so decides to play dirty. He decides to take the robot and to put it on the table, but accidentally he drops it and the robot breaks. And the robot breaks. Yeah, breaks. It was made out of glass. And I really do not understand why did they made it out of glass and not plastic, for example. But back to the film, Vanessa decides to show up at the pizzeria that Michael doesn't know about. She comes to the puppet room and then Charlotte starts speaking to her. She demands that Vanessa opens up the pizzeria so she can leave, but Vanessa knows her plans. Charlotte's plans is to kill all the parents in the city because they had abandoned her. Yeah, that was kinda a long time ago. That was 20 years ago, and she's still mad about it. Anyway, Vanessa refuses to give the code and she decides to kidnap her. Back to the festival, Abby is depressed and runs back to the pizzeria, where she finds Chica. She asks Chica to be her toy to show up and win the festival, but Chica asks her for a favor. Since the puppet controls all the animatronics, she also controls Chica, so Chica asks for Abby for a code to open up the pizzeria so she can leave and actually go with her to that festival. They go to the office room and Chica says to input the code. Abby doesn't know the code, so Charlotte asks Vanessa to say the code or either she will die and together Abby will die. Vanessa starts saying the code through the Chica and Chica says the code to the Abby inputs it and the pizzeria is free and everybody can leave now. together with the animatronics, of course. Then they order a taxi. I don't know how a 11-year-old child can order a taxi, but this dude knows Abby and says not again. But then Chica decides to show her and sits down and the car bends halfway over. And they start driving to school. And I don't really know how a car can hold much weight of an animatronic. How that's even possible? They arrive at the festival and the professor is shocked that she had bring a whole animatronic, a whole working animatronic. The professor of course doesn't believe that that's an animatronic and calls it that somebody is in there, a person. And then he walks off to raid the other people's robots and mechanisms. But then Toy Chica gets mad and says to Abby that she will talk to him. But back to the Michael, he was visiting a dude who put the posters of Murder in Freddy's Pizzeria. He was talking to him, and from this dude, Michael actually learned about the other pizzeria. Also, I believe this dude is Henry Emily, but I didn't really see who actually that was in the credit scene, but my beliefs are strong that that's Henry Emily. Michael starts to think that Abby is now at the pizzeria and not at the school, and so he decides to phone the school. The school says that they are not here yet. Yeah, also my bad, but I accidentally messed up and the Abby with Chica arrived later than Michael had phoned the school. And so he runs off to the school, but then Abby and Chica arrive. Also, Henry Emily gave Michael a music box to stop the puppet, just in case. After raising all of the robots, the professor sits in his chair and then decides to go home. When he was walking down the corridor, he's actually heard some strange noises in one of the classroom. He decides to peek in here, but to his shock there was an actual robot that he saw before and she starts ambushing him. The dude funnily enough decides to crawl and not walk to escape the animatronic, but unfortunately for him, he is going to be dead. Chica takes him by the head and starts squishing his head slowly killing him. She says that she always had wanted to know what is in the head of the people. And when she crosses his head, she says, "Oh, that's what I thought, there was nothing in there." That was actually a fun joke, but you literally killed a person. Are you saying a joke? Really? Then we cut to Michael, who's arriving at the new place. He breaks in, takes a flashlight and gets scared by the animatronics, by the old animatronics, or as they called in the movie, the prototypes for the parts. He runs all over the place, but he cannot find Abby in there. Then Vanessa comes to Michael and says that Abby had freed the animatronics and they had fled already the place. She says that with the power of the computer they actually can stop Marionette and the other animatronics from doing any harm by just clicking on computer. They come to the office room and start searching for the animatronics, and when they do, they actually find the place where the Abby is, and also where the Toy Freddy, Toy Chica and Toy Bonnie is. Michael tells Vanessa to go to the school and save Abby while he is going to do all the work with coding. Vanessa agrees, finds some radios, gives one to Michael and keep one for herself and drives off. Unfortunately for Michael, the prototypes wake up and start ambushing him, like in the actual game. While Freddy is going to some parents' home, he actually goes through the Freddy Fazbear Carnival and some people actually follows him and thinks that actually I do it in a costume. Toy Bonnie is actually going somewhere too off screen and he arrives to the home of some kid. And he actually befriends the kid. Cool. He wants to play with the kid, but says to the kid that he'll go talk with his mom, but in reality she's going to stab her. While driving, Vanessa's roof starts to buckle. She doesn't realize what's happening, and then in the next shot, Mangle ambushes her. A fierce battle is starting and Vanessa drives and fighting with Mangle, but then accidentally she almost hit the car and actually drove off the road, and then the car stopped. Mangle is trying to reach Vanessa, but unfortunately for Mangle, Vanessa is actually clever and starts driving by, and actually starts up the car and starts driving again. And back on the road, she continues to drive and fight with Mangle. Back to the Michael, he is trying to find how to disable animatronics, but unfortunately for him, old Freddy is attacking him, and Michael needs to improvise fast. He cannot find anything except for the mask and tries to use it, and it actually works. Old Freddy's sensor claims him as an animatronic. Then Balloon Boy starts to ambush Michael, but then Michael gets fed up with him and decides to literally and pops his head off. That was actually epic. He throws the head on the floor, but the head is actually glowing and showing that animatronics are coming, and that Michael is getting really ambushed, really hard. Old Bunny is going through the vent, and Michael decides to throw the hand on him first and decides to block the vent with himself and the panel, I think. I don't really know how to call this thing. A vent? Then Chica approaches him and he's decided to put the mask, and that also works on her. Back to the toy bunny, he is actually preparing to kill the mother of this poor child, and the child starts crying together with her mother because they are about to get stabbed. The toy Freddy already had come to the place and also starts preparing to kill the older parents. But unfortunately for the Freddy, Vanessa drives and actually stops the car, and Mangle flies by into the window and actually hitting toy Freddy, knocking him over. Not gonna lie, that was a clear headshot. Good job. Back to the Michael, he's fighting for his life, and then Foxy comes by to ambush him. He tries to use the masks, but it actually doesn't work, and so he has to improvise, and then he finds a file to stop the animatronics, and then he activates it, and Foxy is disabled, together with the toy animatronics. Toy Bunny is disabled just in time, so he doesn't kill anyone. Together, Toy Freddy is disabled, Mangle also is disabled, and Toy Chica is also disabling. But Toy Chick was at Michael's home, putting the little kid in the bed. But back to the Vanessa, she puts the parents into other home and tells them to not go anywhere and not show themselves publicly. Then she decides to drive off, but unfortunately her car is broken. She's depressed, and then the dude that we see earlier in the movie, who was meeting Abby, is here to come to save the day. Fortunately for Vanessa, he gives her a ride. Michael tells Vanessa that there's one animatronic still active, and then she realized that that was Marionette. And Michael also decides to go home. Back to the toy Chica, she wasn't actually activated the whole time, and so her chest started to crumble, and from the chest, Abby was jump scared by Marionette and possessed. In the rush, Vanessa comes quickly by home, and she finds Abby all possessed by Puppet, and the Puppet attacks Vanessa. They are playing hide and seek, but then Vanessa tries to escape, but unfortunately she's knocked down and almost to be killed. But then in the last moment, Michael shows up with the music box that Henry Emily has given to him. The music box starts playing, and Marionette leaves Abby's body, and everybody is safe. Also, I forgot to mention, while going home, Michael actually visited the old place and called for the old spirits of the dead children, or as we remember, the Abby's friends, to help him and help Abby, their old friend. But then the animatronics came. The toy animatronics started to ambush them all, and then Michael Afton shows himself. And so basically he starts to talk to Vanessa to join his dark side, to resume what his father was doing, but Vanessa refuses, and so he tells the animatronics to kill them. But then the animatronics for the first movie, possessed by lost soul of the kids, starts to destroying all animatronics. And they do that successfully, and Michael decides to leave, but unfortunately for him, he's knocked down. Unfortunately, the old animatronics are actually shutting down, because they are outside of pizzeria, and they can't work outside the pizzeria. Abby is having a tough moment, losing her friends again, and then the spirit of a child appears, and he tells Abby that they will meet again somewhere. But after, he warns Michael about William Afton, that he is now free and free to do anything he wants, and that they cannot hold him back anymore. But actually he doesn't say to Michael who they were holding back, so Michael have no idea about William Afton. And so Michael decides to take Abby away and tells Vanessa that he doesn't trust her anymore, and then they leave the house. But we actually forgot about Charlotte, who all the time was waiting for a perfect moment to strike Vanessa, and actually possesses her. And that's when the movie ends with the credit scene supported by music from Living Tombstone. It's been so long, like we actually expected that, don't we? But that wasn't actually the ending. Then we get a scene where three dudes break in the pizzeria, and I'm not really sure what this pizzeria is, and then they want to find some relic and collect for them, because the next day this building will be collapsing. So they decided to search for stuff, and then they find something. The dudes tell one guy to actually collect this thing, but and then they leave, but the dude is actually getting scared and put some kind of cloth on it and left. And then we see that was an old animatronic, the spring trap. And all of a sudden, the animatronic powers up and the dude runs away. And that was basically it. So basically, Scott Calton gave us an idea that we will be definitely having the third movie. So that was the whole plot, and that took me almost 20 minutes to talk about. But now, let's talk what I like in the movie and what I didn't really like the movie. The positive side. I like how there was a little bit some humor in the movie, especially when the professor was trying to escape from Toy Chica, and when she crushed his head, and then she started joking about it, like, you literally killed a person. And also when Freddy was walking through the carnival, the dude started joking about him, and then Freddy said, really seriously said that he is going to kill somebody, and the dude actually didn't believe him and thought he was just playing cool. Also, I liked how the movie was centered around Toy Chica, because Chica is the least favorite character in the FNaF universe. But that's also the negative side, because the other animatronics didn't get really much screen time, especially the old animatronics. And also considering the fact that old animatronics is most fan favorite animatronics, the fans aren't actually happy about that. And also, my question is, if Vanessa cannot cope with the fact that her father is a serial killer and she probably has PTSD, why don't she goes to a doctor or psychiatric or something? Like, why does not she goes there? She literally needs mental help. Why doesn't she goes to a hospital? She will be much better. But that's actually all I wanted actually to say. Also, I really like the graphics. It's not a much big glow up from the first one, but I actually liked it. Also, I liked it as well like the first movie. So this movie gets 10 out of 10 from me, but I don't really get why do fans do not like this movie. Like, it's not supposed to be canon to the games itself. So that's all I wanted to say about this movie. If you actually enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and comment, because I really was working hard on that. That took me around 3 hours to do it. I know actually my video isn't perfect, because I'm a starter YouTuber and my voice is just bad because I'm sick right now. And also this is my first video of the type where I actually analyze something. So this is basically the end of the video, so see you next time, bye!